Afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this pre-match press conference with Maddy Green from New Zealand. What's the mood like in the team currently?
Yeah, the mood's really good. Had a good couple of days of training after our last game against Australia, and look, we know it's a really crucial game for us in this pool, so we're really looking forward to it. Sri Lanka are a really dangerous side, so I think it's going to be a really good contest.
Yeah, you guys have won one and lost one. How's the confidence in the team, and is it good to assume that you put things away pretty quickly, particularly when it comes to the T20 format?
Yeah, I think in tournament play, you've got to take it one game at a time and move on pretty quickly, win or lose, and that's sort of something that we've talked about as a group, is being really focused on each and every game as they come. And obviously, there's a lot of things we can take out of the first two games and analyse, but sort of taking the good and things we want to improve on and try to implement that in the next game, with keeping the opposition in mind and the conditions in mind. So, yeah, moving on quickly. We're 1 from 2 in a really tough pool, so I think we're in a really good position, and we're looking forward to the next two games.
As you said, Sri Lanka are quite a dangerous side, and they haven't really performed as everybody would have expected in this tournament so far. What are you guys doing in just planning ahead of tomorrow's game and looking at them as opposition? Do you plan more in terms of your own performances, or do you plan around the team that you're going to be facing?
Oh, look, I think it's important to have a look at the opposition, and we've seen them in 2 games so far, so we'll take a good look at the footage over the course of the rest of the day and leading into tomorrow. But look, it's about trying to make sure we execute what we're trying to do as well, not trying to overcomplicate it. These are difficult conditions to bat in, and the heat as well. So it's about executing your skills sort of under that sort of strain as well was really critical. So looking after ourselves from a recovery point of view, I think leading into tomorrow is going to be really important for us. But yeah, look, we know they're a really dangerous side. They won the Asia Cup this year, and they've got some players that have. They're world-class players in Shamari Atapadu, and they've got other members of their team as well who keep improving and challenging some of the best teams in the world. So we know we're going to have to play well to beat them.
Just on last one from me, you guys, you spoke a little bit on the conditions. How have you enjoyed, or not so much, the conditions here in the UAE? And is it safe to say that it's the kind of World Cup that's kind of tested your skill set more than actually those other typical conditions where it's a lot of crash, boom, bang kind of T20 cricket? Have you enjoyed being challenged and having to call on the skill set of cricket and going back to those basics rather than, relying on hitting balls hard and far and taking a whole lot of wickets instead?
I think there's sort of 2 factors when you talk about the conditions. It's the heat, and it's also the surfaces that we're playing on. And I think we knew leading into this T20 World Cup, when we thought it was going to be in Bangladesh, that the wickets were going to be lower and slower, and we've sort of practiced that as much as we can back home and try to replicate those conditions on the wickets that we've been training on. So that's something we've talked about a lot, and I think worked really hard at. And then it's just how you cope in the heat, and it comes down to your mental processes and ability to focus under strain, and fitness as well is a huge factor. So yeah, I think we've really enjoyed the challenge. It's been hot, and the girls have been working really hard, and as I said, it's all about our recovery and making sure we're looking after ourselves off the pitch as well, which I think the girls are doing really well, and we're enjoying being over here and the challenge that these sort of conditions bring.
Yeah, we've just completed our 2-day training, so we've got a bit of a taster for what it's going to be like tomorrow. I guess, is there anything different in terms of managing that heat that needs to take place in tomorrow's game?
I think it's pretty individual as what people need. Some people cope better in the heat than others, but it's obviously hydration's a huge factor over here, and nutrition. And I think sometimes on days like tomorrow, it's going to be our non-players that are going to be the busiest people on the pitch, running around trying to look after all of us. So, I think it's just about looking after yourself really well. It's going to be hot. There's no 2 ways about it, and trying to make sure you're slowing things down and mentally really focused when it does get sort of pretty strained physically. Yeah.
And with reference to the game against Australia and then tomorrow's game, is there anything that needs to change from a batting or bowling perspective, or are you guys just going to stick to your game, trust what you've been planning for, and just hope it comes off tomorrow?
Yeah, look, I think our planning and everything's been excellent, and it just comes down to execution, and we weren't able to do that against Australia. I thought they bowled and batted particularly well in both power plays, and that sort of took the game away from us, I think. So, look, it's about going back to what we've been working on back home, trying to execute that as well as we can under pressure against a good side, and yeah, we'll see how we go.
And lastly, I know the group are incredibly keen to get through to the semi-final stage. How closely are you looking at net run rate, or is that not really something you're focusing on yet?
Oh, I think we're just trying to win every game we play, and obviously the conversations about net run rate will happen later in the tournament, but we're just focused on tomorrow, making sure we're winning that game. Really crucial game for us, and then we'll see what position we're in heading into the last game and what we need to do. But yeah, we've sort of talked about as a group just one game at a time, just being really focused on that. Yeah, and it's most important to get the win first.
Great, thank you.